My name is George Njuguna.
And I am Catherine Jerry.
And this is the magazine. Thank you so much for keeping us company from wherever you're listening to us from or watching us from. And so let's talk about your healing. How did you deal with it when he told you step out?
I asked for a month.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
To just put my head in place.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had actually realized that I was in a very bad state of depression.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to just gather myself just enough.
Mm-hmm.
Enough, not fully.
Mm-hmm.
Just enough to be able to wake up every day, go to the bathroom, take a shower, maybe go to the kitchen, cook something.
Yeah.
And be able to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
Because now even eating had become a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I asked for a month, and that was the month of July. In that month, I had now talked to my mom and explained what was happening. She had asked that they meet, but he wasn't willing. So I knew that at the end of the month, I needed to vacate. Yeah. So that was very difficult. But it is very important not to burn your bridges. Never burn your bridges because you never know when you need them. I'm not saying that you will need them, but it is important to stay in contact with people around you.
Yeah.
And we will come to some of the lessons that I learned a bit later.
Yeah.
But yes, so I went back home and to heal. Yes.
Yeah.
I went home to heal.
And
Devastated.
I'm sure your mother had open arms to receive you.
Oh, yes, she did.
Yeah.
And amazingly and lovingly, which was such a breath of fresh air, just to feel loved again. Because in that season, it is possible to feel very unloved, unwanted and rejected.
Yeah.
And so to be in that space of being received, being loved on was an amazing feeling. It helped in the healing. Yeah, because now I knew for sure that it didn't matter what I was going through. I had someone in my court. I had someone
on your side,
on my side
of the ring.
Yes, it was an amazing thing to know. Yeah, it did take a while to get to the point where you say,
I can talk about this.
I can talk about this and talk about it even without, at first it was just talking about it, then talking about it with loads and loads of tears, and then to get to the point where you talk about it and not cry, and you can actually finish the story, to this point where you can talk about it and we can make a few jokes around. We can still laugh. It has taken the hand of God.
Yeah, that's
It has taken the hand of God.
How have you experienced him in this season?
Let me tell you.
There are two lessons you told me on Friday. Yeah.
I think I don't know what particular lessons I mentioned. I may not use the exact same words.
Yeah.
But one of the things I knew for sure, there's this story that is told, and usually it's on those posters you find about footprints on the sand. I knew I know, not new, but I know, and I experienced it then, and I know for sure what it means to have one set of footprints on the sand. And what I know for sure is that they're not my set. They
was carrying,
they were of Jesus, because he was carrying me, because I could not have done it without him. I could not have even taken a breath. It got to a point that it was even difficult to breathe. You know how you you could not finish that breath because it was so painful. Heartache that, there's heartache where I'm heartbroken, but there is heartache where you actually feel physical pain because of the anguish and the torment that is going on the inside of your heart, the heart of hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it did take the hand of God. Yeah. And God had me do some things that were really difficult for me. But
let's talk about them.
So one of the things that God had me do, and I was disobedient for a while, but I'm so grateful that God is gracious and merciful towards us, and He had mercy on me and kept reminding me, you need to do this. Yeah, for your freedom and for you to have release over all these things, you need there's something you need to do.
Yeah.
So after a while, God had me call my ex and ask for forgiveness. And I was thinking, but God, you're unfair. These things were done to me, not the other way around. Why would I be the one, number one, why would I be the one to call? Number two, ask for forgiveness. Lord, you're unfair. But some of the things that He was reminding me constantly in His word was that that Christ died for my sin even before I knew that I was a sinner. And His sacrifice covered for me. And there are many times I have sinned even after coming to salvation. And I always run back to God and I say, Lord, I have sinned against you. Forgive me. I have sinned against you. Forgive me. I have sinned against you. Forgive me. And so after battling with it, I did make that phone call. And it was interesting that part of the instruction was to ask that He may forgive me for any part I played in the marriage failing, and to also offer Him forgiveness whether He apologized or not. And I was thinking, but God, why? It's enough for me to ask for Him to forgive me, but why do I need to forgive Him and then tell Him that I have forgiven Him? It's not necessary. So I can just forgive Him in my closet, in my prayer closet, and it's enough. I said, no, you need to actually communicate the same. And so that phone call was one of the most difficult phone calls I have ever made in my life. The first time I called, he was not able to pick, and I had to send a text and tell him, please call me back. There's something I need to discuss with you. And so when he called back, we weren't able to talk. So I called maybe, I think, an hour later, and I think I had composed myself enough, cried enough by myself, and I was ready to get this assignment done. And at first it was just, do it because God has said, and, get over and done with it. And then it became very personal. And I actually thought, but why would God ask me to do this? Unless it's for my benefit. He loves me enough not to just cause me pain for the sake of pain. But if going through it will give me relief and will give me healing and will cause me to be at peace, then it is for my own benefit. And that is why I made that phone call. And that started off a ripple effect of great healing and great peace coming over my life. Did it happen in one day? No, it did not. Did it happen in 2 months? No, it did not. But by the grace of God, I am here today to testify of His goodness and Him carrying me through those seasons. And it's been quite interesting. So I'm grateful for that season, because now I know, and I can encourage someone and tell them, you know what, no matter what you go through, God is more than capable, able and willing to carry you through your dark seasons. And He is just waiting for an invitation from you. We have to be able to get to the point and surrender those things to Him that we are thinking. Sometimes we think they're too ugly or they're too out of His reach because they're so human. This pain is for the humans. Yes, God is God. Up there in the heavenlies would not
With
understand
many
this.
things to deal with.
Yes, 7 billion children.
And right now he has Ukraine and Russia to deal with.
I tell you, and Somalia, Ethiopia, all now there is Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. Now there's so much happening. Why would he be, attending to just me?
Yeah.
And so it was an amazing experience knowing that, God is concerned about even those things that are important to me, the pain.
Every day.
Every single day.
Yeah.
And he hears us when we call. Yeah.
How about friends? How did you deal with that?
George, you have a sense of humor, but I will allow you. Let me even start with the church. I think the church, I've seen at least one church now sort of allow the name divorce to be mentioned in their spheres, but most churches do not know how to deal with it. And this is not me saying that people should get divorced and the church should just allow it. No. But dealing with it has been one of the church's loopholes and a very big nightmare because most churches do not know how to deal with it. The church I used to attend at that time, we have home fellowships. I will not say what we used to call them because you will know which church it is.
Yes.
But yes, during that time, and I remember my ex, we were hosting home sale. And in hosting home sale, he arrives and I have received visitors. We have been fellowshipping. And he announces that, this is the last time we are going to host home sale. We are going to host. And moreover, Catherine and I will no longer be a couple. We've decided to go our separate ways. And
had he discussed that with you?
He had mentioned that first of all, I didn't even know if he would come, but he had mentioned if he did, he would say it, so that it's just clear and out in the open. And that just broke me in some serious pieces, and I was thinking, oh Lord. So the whole time you're hosting, you're there mark timing, hoping that fellowship will end before he arrives, because you still want to protect a certain face of your dignity, and you don't want to be rejected in front of people. You're thinking, oh Lord, this is going to happen yet again, and it's going to, people will have, they had it. You cannot deny that it was said. And so it did happen. He arrived and he said that we're going our separate ways, and that was the last time. But I think because of how the church was not equipped, that's the right word, equipped to deal with such issues, they don't know how to support people going through it. Both of us were going to the same church. Now, does he leave the church and I continue? Or what?
Do you leave the church?
Do I leave the church and he continues? How do we deal with that? Can both of us still continue to go? I mean, it's more than one service. Do we go to different services? How do we even coordinate that, since we are not talking? But I think even because the church is not equipped, even the people are not equipped. I mean, the people make up the church, but the congregation is not equipped to deal with it. And so I went from being a person who was married to a person who is separated, going to be divorced. And so even the group didn't know how to handle it. So I went from having a prayer partner who was married, and now I can no longer, according to the stipulations, that I can no longer pray with them because I'm not married. And I'm not exactly single. So I cannot even be paired with a single person. So you're left in limbo. And everyone says, no, we'll just be praying for you. And then it became a pity party of people always walking on eggshells around you.
Yeah.
The marrieds can't discuss anything to do with marriage because you're in so much pain. The singles can't discuss about them wanting to date and wanting to get married because you're just coming out of a space where it caused you pain.
Yeah.
And so after a while, I just thought, you know what, this is not the space for me to be in. And I just separated myself. So yeah, so that was one scenario. Another one was a friend outrightly told me that they wouldn't know how to relate with me and how to be with me in their space.
Were you friends before you got married?
With this friend?
Yeah.
No, we met when I was married.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and she said that, you know, you're not able to keep a husband.
Gosh, that's so painful.
So I don't see how we can
relate
with one another and be friends. And the little strength I had gained by that time just went out the window. And I was thinking, wait, so are you my friend because I'm married? Are you my friend because of who I am as an individual? Because I'm thinking, even in marriage, you come we both come as individuals.
Yeah.
Yes. And so do I lose who I am because I am no longer in the space of being married?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was very, very difficult. And people live your life. One by one, they live. And they will take up any kind of story that is going around and
and hang on to it.
Hold it dearly. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was some of those were really difficult moments, and you think you're getting out of the really tearful, sorrowful season, and you're thinking, now I can stand on my feet, and then another bomb comes and it takes your wind out and you're back on your fours and you're thinking, Lord, how do I do this? But I can attest to the sustenance and the carrying of the Lord. He carried me through those seasons.
The footprints in the beach.
Yes.
Single footprints.
Single set of footprints. And I am sure they're not my size 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were much bigger because he was carrying me.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming and joining with us.
Yes.
A whole 2 hours is done. And
maybe just 2 things.
Yeah, okay. Say.
2 things. What I would say about that situation and some of the things that I wish I had done differently was I kept quiet over some of those things that were going on. And so I was dealing with them as an individual on my own. So I would find out that this is not going right, and I would not seek out for help.
Yeah.
So as couples, one of the things I would encourage you is that have accountability, have people you are accountable to, people who can ask you difficult questions. When they see George, hey George, you're going home midnight every day. What's up? Do you not want to be with your wife? You know, what's going on? Or you've changed the way you talk to her. You have people who can catch those things and ask. And also just having a circle of people who will support you. And by support, I mean even in prayer. Because sometimes as Christians, what we do is when we are going through a difficult time, you take a step back.
Yeah.
It's like you want to put your Jesus down first, go deal with the matter, and then when you're done, you come back. And at a point, I felt like that was what was happening. I wanted to just separate myself from this salvation thing because, I mean, God, you'd have taken me out of this situation, but you did not. So is it that you're incapable? But having that firm foundation brought me back and to know that if he has carried me through every other difficult season in my life, even this is not too difficult for him. But having people around you who can pray over you. Because there are times you can't pray, and you need people who can just cover you in prayer and pray with you and uphold you, and even just invite you in their spaces. Mwende mcheke tu, you know, just laugh over anything and nothing, and that just takes away some of that sorrow. So keep keep your friends. Don't throw out your friends.
Genuine friends.
Genuine, good friends who can call you out on when you're making
the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes, when you're making those decisions and they're thinking, we know you can't handle that. People who will hold you accountable.
Yeah.
And then also, as a couple, having accountability.
Yeah.
Yes. And don't keep quiet. Don't keep quiet when things are happening and you're not certain what to do. Reach out to people who, that accountability, it can be a pastor, a couple, a parent who you both listen to, who will call you to order and say, that's not right, and you will both be able to listen to them. So
and even those who will not backbite you.
Yes, have the genuine friends. That's where they come in.
Yeah.
People who you can go to and you're vulnerable, totally quote unquote naked with them and bare your heart, and they will not see that as an opportunity to get juicy stories, to discuss over coffee on their next meeting. So having those is very, very important, and we all need for any season in our lives, not just for marriage, but sometimes when we get married, we get so engrossed and we forget, number one, who we are as an individual, who we are in Christ, and that there is life outside the bubble of
that
marriage. Because there is work, there is family, there are friends that you still need to support. So keeping those circles also in check will help you when you're having a difficult time. You have a family, you have church, you have work. That work doesn't suffer because home is suffering. Yeah,
That's true. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome
for coming and sharing your story. We'll see you next week, same time, same place.